Ciao! This time on Bitchin' Kitchen, we're impressing the in-laws. Because let's face it, you'll never be good enough. But at least this meal will be... First, we'll bamboozle your in-laws with a candied pecan and strawberry salad. Then, we'll sedate them with a tender filet mignon served with my nonna's secret recipe for potato croquettes. And finally, we'll send them home early with some sweet, succulent drunken peaches. Hans is gonna enlighten us with some organic wine pairings that are guaranteed to surprise.
Yeah.
No, really, the fact that he can describe these wines is quite surprising. The spice agent is gonna school us on white peppercorns.
Die, white peppercorn. Die.
Oh, what a show, huh? I'm Nadia G, and this is Bitchin' Kitchen. But where do we find these people? Now, you may be expecting a bunch of disparaging remarks about in-laws in this episode, but personally, I've never had a problem. Then again, I've dated a lot of Johnny Blenders who wear more mascara than I do, so I think these parents were just happy that their son was dating a chick. Anyways, meeting your lover's parents for the first time is always awkward, so I'm gonna give you a few tricks to ease your pain. Step 1.
Invite them over to your place for dinner.
Yup. Get your in-laws out of their comfort zone and onto your turf. This puts you in a position of power because as guests, they can't badger you. Just remember to clean up a little, huh? Step 2.
Satisfy them with a succulent meal.
Exactly. You may think your in-laws are difficult, but subconsciously, parents only care about one thing, whether their kids are eating enough. My mom calls me at least once a day asking, Nadia, did you eat? What did you eat? Are you sure you ate? When you coming over to eat? Why we never see you no more? Why you abandon the family? Ma! The point is, this meal will prove their precious baby's getting fed. Step 3.
Pair an exquisite wine with each course.
Yeah! Not only does this show class, but it also shows them the door as they down bottle number 3, all tipsy and stuffed. Nota bene, you may want to disregard this step if self-control isn't your forte and you have a burning desire to tell a really funny joke about a non-two sheep and a frisky bus driver. Let's get cooking. We'll start with our candied pecan and strawberry salad. First, we'll preheat our oven to 300 degrees, nice and low. Line a baking sheet with some parchment paper and scaff it aside. In a big bowl, add 2 egg whites, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, tack, and give it a good beating. Now throw in 2 cups of raw whole pecans. Now, use your hands to mix it up so every single pecan is coated in the good stuff. Don't be afraid to touch your food, man. Get into it. Remember when you were a kid, you'd get such joy out of hiding behind the bushes at night waiting for joggers to pass just so you could pounce and scare the crap out of them? It's exactly like that. Pop these babies in the oven for about 30 minutes. Next, we'll concoct our dressing. In a jar, combine 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 4 tablespoons of aged white balsamic, big pinch of brown sugar, small pinch of sea salt, and lots of freshly cracked white pepper. And shake it up. That's it. Give it a taste. That white pepper's got chutzpah. And on that note, here's the spice agent with his white pepper report.
Thank you, Nadia. Did you know that white peppercorns are merely mature black peppercorns? But what you don't know is that white peppercorns, they mock me. They're always so happy. They're so carefree. If only I was allowed the luxury to ripen fully on the pepper vine until I was good and ready. But no, not for Yecheskel. I'm like the black peppercorn, ripped away too young and green and left to burn in the scorching sun until I shrivel to blackness. Blackness! Let me tell you this, Mr. White Peppercorn. You might be hotter on the tongue, but you will never be as aromatic as your dark brother. Only suffering will give you that extra flavor. And the pampered life you have lived will forever blind you to the beauty only found in hardship. That's how it is.
Thanks,
Yecheskel Mizrahi.
Ah, screw it. When we get back, we'll scoff our candied pecan and strawberry salad, so keep on rocking the kitchen, baby.
But will the pecans make it? Can the strawberries handle the vinaigrette? What kind of lettuce will be used? What kind of lettuce?
Today on Bitchin' Kitchen, we're impressing the in-laws. Because as the old Italian saying goes, if your in-laws don't like you, you will be tethered and sold for 2 quarts of goat milk and a salamette. What? I told you the saying was old. Let's get our candied pecans out of the oven. Whoop. We'll plate our mesclun greens. Now the basic rule to making this salad great is the same as impressing your in-laws. Check it out. Don't be too sweet or overly nutty. Go easy with the giggling, the fawning. Psst. Keep all conspiracy theories to yourself. Trust me. Then, go easy on the vinegar. See, your in-laws don't need to know that your generation doesn't vote because balding middle-aged white men bore you. And lastly, give them something fresh to chew on. Initiate conversation about the latest movie, art, the freaking ballet, anything to take the attention away from your career as a ceramics transportation specialist. Oh, Mr. Busboy, mangiamo. Crisp greens smothered in our tangy, peppery dressing. The strawberries just add such a burst of freshness. These pecans are killer. While I finish scoffing, here's Hans with a bitchin' wine pairing for this insalata.
Miss G. Silky rosé wines are the perfect aperitif. This famous Secu 2008 has a sexy orange tinge and smells like mandarins and red berries. But hey, just because it's mildly fruity doesn't mean it can't put you in your place. Always remember, it has bite and is dry to the bone.
Thanks, Hans. It's time for our main course, and I'm gonna be making a tender filet mignon drizzled with a Maple-Balsamic Reduction, served with my nonna's potato croquettes and sweet cherry tomatoes roasted on the side. This dish is not only extremely long to describe, but it also has the added benefit of knocking your in-laws into a meat and potatoes-induced coma, huh? Bring it on. First, we'll roast our tomatoes. Grab a bunch of cherry tomatoes and slice them in half. Scaff these in a baking dish. Throw in a couple of cloves of crushed garlic, a pinch of Greek oregano, drizzle with some extra virgin olive oil. 2 tablespoons will do. Then we're gonna add a nice pinch of brown sugar,
pinch of sea salt, and lots of freshly cracked pepper. Yeah, we heard it before.
Pop these babies in a 425-degree oven for about 40 minutes. On to our potato croquettes, and are your in-laws ever in for a treat? This recipe comes from my paternal grandmother, Nonna Teresa. Man, when I was a kid, I used to go nuts over these croquettes, but there was a downside. In order to eat them, I had to go over to her house, and her living room used to creep me out. She had these decorative rubber lizards everywhere, their gaping mouths filled with razor-sharp teeth. Let's just say that Nonna had peculiar taste, huh? Now boil these potatoes in salted water for about 10 to 15 minutes, just until they're tender. While these get going, let's make the seasoning for our croquettes. Grab about 3 scallions and slice them up. Next, mince 1 clove of garlic and saute in extra virgin olive oil, about a tablespoon, just until it's nice and fragrant. We'll drain our potatoes. We'll throw our seasoning in. Add half a cup of Parmigiana Reggiana. Now, if you don't want to piche the cash for Parmesan, or if you're just impressing your in-laws for a green card, you can always opt for cheaper Romano. And mash it all together. We'll refrigerate this for about 30 minutes just so it's cool enough to roll into croquettes. When we get back, we're gonna fry up these suckers and I'm gonna show you how to make the perfect steak every time. Stay hungry. Do I look like a vampire in this outfit? Because I feel a bit like a vampire. And we're back. Now, some of you may be too cool to impress your in-laws. You may be saying to yourself, well, why should I go through all this trouble? Cooking a big meal, setting the table, taking a shower. They should accept me for who I am. And if not, fangool. Cute, very cute. Listen here, bucko. You have to impress your in-laws if you want your relationship to last, especially your mother-in-law. Because your father-in-law, he just does what she says. If you don't get them on your good side, they're gonna sabotage your relationship, my friend. Take it from me. My mother has given many a boyfriend the malocchio, you know, the stink eye. And that seed of doubt ultimately opens up a Pandora's box that ends with Johnny Blender getting the boot. Capisce? Steak. First things first, let's heat a tablespoon of canola oil on high. Here I've got some Filet Mignon. Now you want to bring your steak down to room temperature before cooking. Otherwise, hot pan, cold food equals glued. It's a good one, admit it. Cover it with some steak spice. You gotta love that sound. Now, cooking an expensive cut of meat like filet mignon can be intimidating. That's why over the years, I've come up with a no-fail strategy for a 1-incher medium rare. You put the heat on high, you sear each side for 2 minutes, then turn the heat down to medium-low and cook it for 2 more minutes per side. If you use this timing trick, I guarantee you'll have the perfect steak every time. Nice and caramelized on the outside and juicy pink on the inside. Me, I'm getting too hungry. Look at this steak, man. Okay, the last trick to cooking up a stellar steak is to place it in foil. This delicately finishes up the cooking process and allows it to reabsorb all its juice. Let's finish up these croquettes. While our steaks rest for about 10 minutes, we'll fry up these croquettes. So, in a bowl, schiaff in 2 eggs. First, we'll roll our potato mixture into fingers. Now dip them in beaten egg. And coat them with Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. If you want, you could also use panko for crunch. Now, fry them up in about 1/4 inch of good olive oil. Move them around so they get nice and crispy all over. Let's get our cherry tomatoes out of the oven. These smell amazing. Roasted garlic, a little bit of that caramelized sugar, then you got the oregano. All right, we're gonna finish up by making our balsamic reduction. Follow me. Your in-laws are gonna love this sauce. It's so simple, yet tastes like you give a It's thick, sweet, and tangy, everything you could ever want in a steak sauce, and then some. So, pour 4 tablespoons of aged balsamic into a pan. Add 4 tablespoons of Canadian maple syrup, the good stuff. Turn the heat on to medium-high. Keep mixing for 3 to 5 minutes until it's bubbling and slightly reduced. Let's plate this dish. Oh my goodness. This steak is so incredible. Your in-laws are gonna be begging for grandchildren in no time. Look at this. Too much. Too much. Some of our crispy potato croquettes. A little bit of our Bitchin ketchup, if you will. Are you ready for this? I don't know. Okay, I think you're ready for this. Let's eat. I'd describe what this tastes like, but honestly, it's just too freaking good. So excuse me while I scoff. These cherry tomatoes are so sweet. Now, on with the show. Okay, wait, maybe just one more croquette. Okay, now we're gonna... Okay, maybe just another bite.
Oh, come on!
Fine! Here's Hans, our scantily clad food correspondent, with another bitchin' wine pairing. Hans, take it away.
Miss G, behold! The Radicon. This is an amber wine, and amber wine is rare. Did you know that my eyes glow amber in the moonlight? Yeah. Oslavier 2002 is just as intense. This white wine is processed like a red, so you drink it like a red at room temperature. It's full-bodied, robust, and has a whimsical aroma of honey and ripe yellow fruit. Which ripe yellow fruit? That's none of your business. Amber power for life!
Me! That was intense! After a quick break, we'll whip up a light fruity dessert of my famous Drunken peaches. Well, they're not famous there, but sounds good on TV, no? Welcome back to Bitchin' Kitchen's Impress the In-Laws episode. Because if they reject you, you're gonna miss out on all kinds of precious perks, like weekly care packages, family picnics, and their inheritance. Let's make that dessert! After pummeling your in-laws' guts with our bitchin' spin on steak frit, they're gonna appreciate a nice light fruity dessert, my Drunken peaches, and you'll appreciate how the port wine will have them calling a cab in no time. Slice a couple of ripe peaches into quarters. If you can't find peaches, you can use nectarines. If you can't find nectarines, use apples. If you can't find apples, use another grocer. Skewer the quarters, put them in a nice fancy glass, and then pour 2 ounces of ruby port over top. Beautiful. A real no-brainer. Speaking of which, Hans, what kind of port you recommend?
Miss G, I once did 276 push-ups on my fists!
Thanks, Hans. You gotta admit, he had a good stretch there, though, huh? Never mind. Let's scoff these peaches. Ripe peaches, syrupy port. I love this dessert. I especially love this dessert because my dad used to eat this all the time. But instead of port, he would use homemade red wine. And there were no peaches. Now it's time to set the table in-laws style. What? Oh, you thought cooking up an extravagant 3-course meal would be enough to get them off your case? Okay. Look, although dishing out a great meal will prevent them from grilling you like they normally would if you were at their place, they're still gonna be inspecting everything, feeling your material. That's why you gotta prove that you've got an eye for the little details and all that crap. We'll start with the tablecloth. What I like to do is head down to the fabric store and find the coolest material ever. And then pick the polar opposite. Next, find a conversational centerpiece, like this stylish vintage kettle. One thing I know for certain, spray paint any piece of junk white and takata. It's stylish. Fill the centerpiece with fresh flowers. Match the napkins to the flowers, and your heels, and your nail polish, and that's that. And for a final touch, scaff a bunch of ground cherries into espresso cups. This'll give your in-laws something to chew on before dinner. Stylish. Now that the table's dressed, let's bring in an unbiased stranger to tell us what they think about our bitchin' table setting, huh?
Whatever. I'm single.
Awesome! Today we made a delicious candied pecan and strawberry salad, tender filet mignon, and peaches and port. Not to mention all the bitchin' wine pairings and the freaking table setting. I think your in-laws are gonna be pretty blown away by all this. And if not, give it some time, they'll come around. No, seriously, if your in-laws aren't impressed by all this, you're pretty much screwed. Just end it, really. It's not worth it. Sorry. Alla prossima!
A chemical reaction, a minor low infraction. I'll say